Brandon Cutler here from AEW, and I hope you guys have an awesome podcast with the MonsterCast.
What's up, you guys? Sean Ross Sapp, Fightful here. You're watching the MonsterCast with Jack and Ryan. A big shout out to those fellas. Good people. Check them out.
Here's your host of the MonsterCast, the Straight Edge Monster, Jack and Ryan.
All right, so here's the thing with Jay White, guys, is his contract is coming up with New Japan. It's no secret. There was some talk of him with Sean Ross Sapp where he asked him, like, where's his mindset at right now? Now, obviously, we can't take this at 100 because Jay White is always in character like an MJF.
It's always working.
Always working, right? But he said at the moment, 75% WWE, 15% AEW, and then I assume that the rest is back to New Japan, right? So, because that's only 90, so 10% New Japan, I guess.
GCW, boy.
Yeah. All right, so the question here is your personal opinion. If you're Jay White, where do you go and why?
A lot of people have been making the joke that if he goes to WWE, he's going to get in that big program with The Miz. But the joke works because it's true. Like,
it works. And let me go ahead and say this. I don't hate The Miz.
I don't either.
Okay? Yeah, I know you don't either. And it's not necessarily a bad thing to work with The Miz out the gate because he's a very safe worker. He does it the WWE style. He can, if he's really into it, he can deliver on promos, right? And really build up the match. The problem with The Miz thing is that always happens on a regular show and never on an actual pay-per-view, so it doesn't really catapult you the way that you think. And then, of course, after the Miz thing, unless you're Cody, you really just get fumbled around instead of getting moved up somewhere else. So it's not really a knock on the Miz, it's just the knock on the WWE version of what a new person should be doing when they hire somebody. They always have to come in and fight the fucking Miz. It's weird.
And AEW had a similar problem for a while where everybody that would come in, they would throw them in some QT Marshall shit, right? So it's not unique to WWE. Or Cody, right. So it's not unique to WWE, but it's a unique problem there because then they don't have anything to do after. Unless you're in that very, very, very top spot, they usually don't do that much with you. And when you bring in somebody like Jay White, who's a multiple-time IWGP heavyweight champion, you can't bring him in and put him in like the U.S. title picture. It doesn't work.
NXT.
There's some interesting... Huh?
Put him in NXT.
Yeah.
That's something else they do a lot. People that should not be in NXT.
Bro, Dragon Lee being in NXT is the funniest shit on earth to me. Let alone Shinsuke Nakamura. Like, some of those people that they brought in and put in NXT,
Samoa Joe,
fucking hilarious to me.
Samoa Joe should not have been in NXT either.
Finn Balor.
Nah, I don't have a problem with Finn Balor being in NXT, honestly. I really don't. I don't have a problem with Finn Balor being in NXT. But Shinsuke, who was in the heavyweight division of New Japan, Samoa Joe, who was already old, well, you get what I'm saying. Old for NXT, yes. I totally will stand behind that.
Here's the question. Why did they put Samoa Joe there but not AJ Styles?
That's a great question. And that's why I disagree with them putting Samoa Joe there.
Yeah, it never made any sense to me. But yeah, dude,
and I'll say this, because it made even less sense because Samoa Joe wrestles more of a WWE style than AJ Styles does.
Here's the funniest thing to me, though. Jay White lives in Florida. He's married. He got married, I think, a year or two ago. And word is, he's pretty private about his personal stuff, but his wife will post stuff sometimes. I think she's pregnant, is what I heard. So that's why he doesn't want to necessarily keep working overseas. He wants to spend more time at home or whatever. Now, NXT is pretty much entirely done in Florida. I could see him, if he really wanted to, signing a fucking deal with NXT and doing the NXT shit just to live in Florida for the first year or two of his WWE career. Maybe. Now, is that the dumbest shit ever from like a booking standpoint? Absolutely. But if that's what he wants to do.
It's a dream come true from a booking standpoint for WWE. Our fucking NXT numbers just went skyrocket. No, that's a great thing for them. Now, dumb for on. It's really only dumb because it's wasting 2 years of his career. That's what it's dumb from.
It's wasting somebody that would be the top of your fucking company. You're talking like.
But if
LA
Jay
Knight
White comes in and tells
promo.
you, like, you're Triple H, right? If he comes in and tells you that's what he wants, you're not going to give it to him so you can have Jay White on your roster? You're going to give it to him.
Yeah. I'm not saying that's the issue. The issue is you've got somebody that's like literally an LA Knight level promo, if not better. He's at least the same level. But is like 3 times the worker that LA Knight is in the ring, too. And you're going to say, well, sure, if you want to go to NXT, we'll do that. But could you please fucking just be our world champion for a while? Jay White is so head and shoulders above, like, pretty much everybody else they have on that entire roster, that it would be crazy to me if they brought him in and said, yeah, you want to live in Florida, we'll let you do NXT for a year or two. That's insane.
Okay, so here's the other thing about this is obviously during the pandemic, guess what else was based in Florida? It's AEW.
Yeah.
All right, so AEW, Daly's Place, that's their main go-to fucking venue whenever they're down there. They're based in there. He owns the Jacksonville Jaguars. It's Florida, dude. Like, it's there too. There's a lot of people in AEW that live in Florida because of that when it started with the pandemic and stuff, so they could get to work faster, and they love Florida down there and everything else. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that just because he's in Florida, he's going to NXT, and AEW is still not an option. Now, here's the thing with that, is that the greatest part about this, if I'm Jay White, I'm obviously picking AEW, and it's not even necessarily because I like AEW more than WWE. It's because he can still go to New Japan.
Yeah,
that's
a
the
big
whole
part of it,
thing.
too.
He loves New Japan. He just doesn't want to be there permanently while his wife is pregnant in the States. He's married to, I assume she's American, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, all right. I mean that makes sense because I feel like isn't it easier for him to get a visa and stuff if the wife isn't a U.S. citizen?
Yeah.
Okay,
well, you
so
don't
like,
even need a visa at that
Yeah.
point, as I think outward. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so because I know Kenny Omega's been having visa issues recently. So anyway, so Jay White going to AEW makes a lot of sense because Florida, right? AEW is connected to Florida in a big way. And then, of course, he can still work with all his friends in AEW and still work in New Japan. So I feel like, and they have a working relationship already right now, obviously. So just based on personal life things, if I'm Jay White, if literally I'm Jay White, I'm making AEW the decision, and it's really not even that close, honestly. The only way that it would make me really consider changing my mind is if WWE just offered me so much money, like 3 times the amount that AEW did. That's the only way I would think about it.
Yeah. Booking wise, you just know he'll be used better in AEW. But if he goes to WWE, he would stand out a lot more too. So there is that. It's a weird dichotomy because he'll stand out more in WWE, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they'll use him better because that's just how they are. LA Knight is the best promo they probably have in the company right now, but he's losing fucking Mountain Dew pitch black matches. So being the best at stuff over there doesn't always translate to being the top of the card. Whereas Jay White is such a valuable commodity in wrestling communities that are aware of his work that I don't think you could bring him to AEW and not immediately have him in the title picture. So,
all right, so if you're Jay White, what are you choosing?
I don't know what his priorities are aside from
if you're Jay White. If you're Jay White, it's just opinion based. If you're Jay White, are you choosing WWE or AEW, knowing all the information that you currently know?
Depends on whether or not WWE would expect me to work house shows. That would be the biggest driver to me, and that's the same. Like anytime there's a hypothetical about AEW versus WWE, my first thought always goes to the house show circuit. Because if I got to work house shows,
understand that AEW is about to start doing live shows.
Yeah, but it's not going to be nearly as many or as often. They're not doing 5 fucking live shows a week. Like
I understand that.
So it's not really.
So are you going? Or if you're Jay White, are you going to NXT like you just said for a year or two while your kid is being born and growing up, so you don't miss all the shit? Or do you go straight to WWE and grab the cash money? Or do you go to AEW and work way less dates but get to work with all your friends?
I would see if WWE would sign me to the WWE money deal, but 1 year in NXT and then 2 on main roster. That's what I would try to argue for.
Yeah, because he's still young enough that, like, super young. A lot of people don't realize that. He feels like he's been around forever, but he's young.
He's
so
not.
Even if I think even if he goes to WWE for 3 years, he still won't be 30, right?
No. He's 30 now, I think.
Oh, is he 30? Okay.
Yeah. I think he's 30 now.
All right. So if he goes to WWE for 3 years, 1 in NXT, 2 for WWE.
Yeah, he was born in 92, so yeah, he's 30.
Okay, so if he goes 1 year in NXT, 2 in WWE, then gets the fuck out, he can still go to AEW.
Yeah, he's got plenty of time. He could work 5 years in WWE and come over at 35 and still be like totally fine.
Yeah, but I would only sign a 3-year contract because you don't know what the fuck they're going to do with you.
Right, and you don't know who's going to own the company. So the other part of that too is like, I don't know what. Okay, so a lot of people do have this idea in their head that they want to be in WWE history. They want to do WWE shit. They want to win a Royal Rumble. They want to win the world, like the WWE title. Like they want to have the Intercontinental
Championship. Let's be honest,
rank.
Because it's still stuff that you grew up watching. So it's stuff you want to do. Yeah, exactly.
Right. So I don't know where he is on that. But that might influence his decision too, because he's got to realize he's always got time to go to AEW. So yeah, I mean, I could see him going to WWE. I don't know if that 75% split thing that he's talking about is true. That could be him trying to angle more money out of fucking Tony Khan. Who knows? But I could see him going there. Would I think that it'd be like? Do I think that they would present him in the best light compared to an AEW? Probably not. At least not over time. Whereas I could see him consistently being the top of any AEW card. I don't see WWE doing that with him in the same way. But the one interesting thing about him going to WWE is that there is some mixed history there with him and Cody, at least. So if you do bring him into WWE, you could have him come in and take the title right back off of Cody.
Yeah, but then your last 2 champions would be people that you brought in from other organizations. And really, that's a detriment to what you've fucking been doing as a company, honestly, right? Let's be real about it. Like, they're not,
no,
that's their problem.
They still see Cody as a WWE guy.
I don't care what they see him as. Like, he's literally the AEW character Cody, though. That's not what he was in WWE, so I don't see him that way. They can see him however they want to see him, but you brought over everything that was literally part of him besides the Cody Vader. Other than that, everything else was the same.
No, to me, I view it more like McIntyre, right? Like, they had McIntyre early. He wasn't what he became. But they still view McIntyre as not an indie guy. He's not a guy that went and, like, he's still their guy. You know what I mean?
AEW didn't exist when McIntyre went to the Indies. Impact is not.
I understand that.
I'm just saying that's probably how they look at it. It's my opinion. I understand you're saying that's how they view it, but I get it. So like, if Cody wins it, they're not viewing it as AEW guy won the title. I understand that, but it is the AEW character that won it. So to me, it's still the AEW guy.
That's our guy who got lost for a few years and came back into the flop. Yeah. Is how they look at it.
That was their excursion. Okay. Anyway, so
he went to pro.
Jay White, I think Jay White. I'll answer the question straight up. Jay White, you should sign AEW. You should sign with AEW because you'll get comparable money. You'll get to wrestle on AEW and in New Japan from time to time, especially on the bigger shows and stuff like Wrestle Kingdom, maybe even G1s if you still wanted to, and obviously Forbidden Door. And you still get the downtime with a lot less actual day-to-day wrestling than you would in WWE. Even NXT travels, right? So, like, you still would put a lot less wear and tear on your body. You're still young enough to, like, recoup, and now you can even recoup even faster. Like, I just think all signs point to AEW if I'm making that decision with the child on the way, the wife being in the U.S., all that stuff. Obviously, all that stuff would have to be in the contract.
Speaking of the child being on the way thing, I'm not 100% sure on that. It's just I read somewhere something about them on sort of family or something.
If it hasn't been born already, I'm pretty sure she's pregnant. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure you're accurate on that. But anyway, if I'm Jay White, I'm signing AEW as soon as possible. As soon as they make me the offer. If it's, comparable.
And he's got friends that work there too, which is probably a big part of it. Like, you don't want to be around a bunch of strangers. You don't want to be booked by somebody that you don't know and don't really trust or
Not
whatever.
only that, it's like, like when you go to WWE and if you don't know a lot of people, and I'm sure you know some people, like you said, Cody and stuff like that, but it's not like, they're not like best friends, right? So like, those guys can look out for you. Whereas you have no one watching your back in WWE, and they could be talking behind your back, and you could be getting held down without even knowing it. So yeah, that sucks. But yeah, I'm signing with AEW if I'm Jay White.